Hey folks, so I've been busy for the last week here working on this. This is the Apricot Zen-i. This was the second generation of Zen machines from Apricot computers. This is an AT compatible machine. Now, British design usually means something absolutely terrible. May I remind you about the key layout on something like the Psion organizer. But Apricot had this design language going on which was absolutely fantastic. I love it. And I mean, look at stuff like this. Like, it's got a trackball mouse. It has a full-size keyboard, but look at this LCD display with buttons right here. Like, that's a neat feature. And also, just look at the form factor. It is a 100% AT compatible machine, and it's half the size. It's fantastic. Now, this one here is actually booting right now, and it's all happy and good. That's because I've managed to do the full recovery. It's nice, squeaky clean, factory install. Like, the hard drive's all happy and all stuff like that. But I want to show you how I did it. And there's a number of extra steps here which makes things kind of convoluted. It's not fun, but I'm going to reinstall this just for you. So, hold on. Let me show you how I did it. Now, the first thing you're going to run into with something like the Xen-i is that it uses a 5 1/4 inch floppy drive. It's a 1.2 megabyte, which is nice. But the problem is with Apricot is that typically they used 3.5 inch floppy drives. They went to 5 1/4 inch briefly because of the whole AT compatibility. PCs were not going to use 3.5 for another couple of years as a standard, so they went to this, and they switched back. But that makes things difficult. So, as you can see here, I got floppy disks in a box, I have another machine, and I have a stack of disks here. There are 8 recovery disks total for this machine. That includes what is called disk 0, I guess they say for it, and that is what you boot from and start the utility from. There's also a 9th disk that you will need, and that is for preparing the hard drive for formatting, actually. All of these disks are available in image form and unpacked archive format at Apricot. It's an old website at this point here, but like you just Google search Apricot, exactly as it sounds, and you'll get the website, and you'll find the disk library, and there you go. The problem is, all of those files are going to be 3.5 inch format images, so you can't just write out the disks. So what I've actually had to do here, you see this 3.5 inch disk? So I had to go download each file, I had to take those files, write them to this floppy, take the floppy into this machine, and then with this compact portable 386, I would copy it from the 3.5 inch to a 1.2 megabyte 5 1/4 inch. And this is where getting a box of floppies is kind of handy. I just happen to have a couple available. Now, we're not done yet here because you're just copying files over. They're not bootable. We need to also make these system bootable to MS-DOS 3.2. And this is more to the case for the Xen-i. It's a 100% PC compatible system. I'm not sure if you're running an original Zen, it's going to get weird, but the disk images aren't available for that system, so whatever. What I actually ended up doing is that I have another system disk for MS-DOS 3.2. So I would actually boot from this, and then use this to sys this disk, and then I would write it on here, and anything that wasn't or that was OEM to the files that I added on would overwrite whatever this had sysled. And then you could throw it into the Apricot and it would boot. And that's how you set the system up. Or at least you got into the setup utility and you could set up the BIOS, set up the floppy drives, and then set up the hard drive. So, this here is mid-1980s stuff. That in there is a mini scribe 20 megabyte 3.5 inch hard disk. It's 20 megs, but it's the old ST506 standard. It has this has to be low-level formatted if you know what that is. If you don't know what that means, in modern hard drives you have a servo track. It's embedded into one of the platters of your hard disk. With these older stepper motor drives, you didn't have that. It was a case of the controller told the drive step X number of times, read or write, and hope you got it right. This relied on the tracks that were being written to the surface of the disk during formatting, or initial formatting, known as low-level formatting, to be accurate. You can't just take one of these drives, do the low-level format, and call it good. What will happen there is that because, again, no embedded servo track, there's nothing on the disk that it can calibrate or reference from. When you do one of these cold, when it warms up, the tracks will drift as the platter itself changes in physical dimensions. Very slightly, but it is a problem. So instead, the system has to be run for a few hours to get everything nice and warmed up. Then you do the low-level format, which is what I've already done here. So I've written out all my disks. We have our utility disk right there we're going to start off with. We're done with this machine here, actually, so I can turn that off. And let's reboot this machine and start with the setup. Alright, so what we're going to do here now is we're going to take our bootable disk utilities diskette. I'm going to put that into the drive. Now, to restart it, to reboot an Apricot, you can't do Control-Alt-Delete. If I do that, it doesn't work. Instead, located out of view over here is a black button on the side, which is your reset button. You hold that for several seconds. There we go. And that's going to boot up here. Now, there is a requirement for this here before you can really get too much further onto this. Located on disk 0 of your factory restore floppies is a program called Setup. That's actually used to set up the system BIOS and CMOS settings and the clock. You have to do this beforehand. There are 3 batteries in this machine. There is a 3.6 volt nickel cadmium Varta. I know we all hate these things, but you need to have this in there. There's also 2 AA batteries. Those also need to be in there. Without any of this, you can't even hold settings between menu options in the setup. You need it in there. Anyways, if once that's all said and done, you come up to here, enter the date, don't care, enter the time, don't care, and inside of the disk here, you have HD form. Really, that's all there is on there. I added sys myself, which simply will sys MS-DOS 3.2 to whatever the hell you specify, but we'll do HD format. And you should have set up your hard disk by now. In this case here, I only have 1 hard disk in the system, so I'll specify 1. And it looks at that and it knows, okay, so this must be, I've specified a drive type 2. So it's a Mini Scribe 8425. It's a 20 megabyte, 3.5 inch disk. 4 heads, 615 cylinders, 17 sectors. Is this correct? Yes. Enter my interleave factor. I don't care, so it defaults to 2. Formatting drive 1 will destroy all files on the drive. Do you want to continue? Yes, of course I do. Now, choose the following methods for entering bad track numbers and bad block information. In this case here, this drive, I don't know that information. That is fine. It will find it during the formatting procedure. It will verify and test every single cylinder on this drive. So I'm going to say 1. Do I wish any information on bad tracks? I will say no. It's going to give you another warning saying, once you go past this point here, the low-level format starts. There's nothing you can do to stop it. You're going to lose all your data. And that is very much true on this, on a low-level format. So, yes, we'll continue. And off it goes. Now, it's going to believe, I think, at cylinder 94, it's going to find 1 marked bad track. But I'm just going to leave it through here, and I'll come back to you once this is near completion. Well, there it was, cylinder, head 0, verify failed, flag bad. You know, it's really impressive, actually. This drive here, I've actually had in my collection for a number of years. I don't even remember where I got it, but I'd stolen the screws out of it, and really the lid on the hard drive had been just held on with a piece of painter's tape for years. This is actually a board swap on here. I couldn't get the original board on this hard disk assembly to work. And with low-level formatting capable drives, you can do that. But I'm just astounded. That's it. That's the only problem with this drive, is just one cylinder. That's it. No other problems. And it doesn't even sound all that loud either. It's great. Anyways, it's just about done here. And there we go. Winchester format now complete. Prepare your system for reboot. So I'm going to now take out the floppy disk, and we will now get ready for restoring the system. Alright, and here we go. Disk 1, not labeled, but I know it's disk 1. So I'm just going to pop that in there. And I'm going to prepare your system for reboot. Press the escape key, and off it goes. It's going to reboot. It's going to start booting off the floppy. There we go. Hard drive is ready. And off it goes booting. There we go. Warning, you're about to run F-disk. Remember, low-level formatting is not standard formatting. But now we're running F-disk to create the partition, and then we're going to reboot, and we're going to format after that and do the rest of the high-level formatting. Do we wish to continue? Sure. And it's scripted. So I'll do yes. And off it goes, and it just rebooted. This time around, it's now going to high-level format the drive. That is, this is the typical format we expect out of a hard drive. This is the file system is now made, and now we go and wait again for this thing to complete. It didn't like that spot on the drive. Alright, and there we go. Alright, and now the restore program comes in. So it's asking me for the first disk, or just, it's basically asking me for a disk with an ARC archive file. So out comes disk 1. Set that off right there. I know this one here is disk 2. Or actually, this one here is disk 1. I'm not going to get used to the whole disk 0 thing. So I'm going to hit that. I'm going to hit enter. And it says disk number is 1. Do I accept on that? I do. And off it goes. It'll now unpack the files in the archive to the hard drive. Okay, so it's actually, this is interesting to note, is that it's actually loading files for the GEM desktop right now. I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought these only ship with Windows. Maybe these disks don't include Windows? This was a GEM version? We'll see. Alright, and now it wants the next disk. Alright, now we're on to disk number 2. So I'm just going to pop that in. Oh, no, drive not ready. Yes, because my hand was in the way. Try now. Abort retry. Seriously? Did I just do that? Yeah, that is totally not true. Okay, we're going to go back and do that again. Alright, and we are back again, about to put disk 2 into the system again without bumping the keyboard. There we go. In, closed. Now hit enter. There we go, disk number 2, and I accept, and off it goes again. Oh cool, this one comes with GW Basics, so we do have a basic interpreter included, and now it wants the next disk. And disk 3 it shall have. Yep, And it's disk 3, so we'll go. And now it's just loading a bunch of PIFs. Okay, so yes, we saw Gem getting installed, but now it's actually loading stuff for Windows. So Windows and Gem were shipped from the factory on the Zen, on this set, which is neat. It's got a driver here even for the HP LaserJet. I wonder if that's compatible with my LaserJet 4. Alright, and now we're on to the next disc. Alright, and the next one, I've already lost count of which one it is, so we'll put that in there, and I'll hit enter. And it will remind me, I think it's disc 4? Yes, disc 4, so we're good. What? Alright, and there goes that one. So I believe the next one would be disc 5. I really don't want to hit those buttons again. Yep. A calculator, a card file, a clipboard, clock, notepad, paint. Where's Reversies? Where is Reversey? There's Reversey! There's my terminal. And where's my print spooler? Oh yeah, that would be more of a driver than anything. How much do you think that's probably cost me? Only $99. Yes, it was $99, and it was true. Ooh, burger. Alright. Out you go. Disc 6. Here we go. Yep, disc 6. And off we go again. Oh hey, there's a batch file there for Zentel. If you don't know what Zentel is, that's actually the telephone attachment that would hide on this side of the keyboard over here. I don't have any of the hardware that supports that, but I guess the software includes it. Alright, there we go. That was not a lot on this disc. And hurrah, we are on the last disc. Disc 7. So I'm just going to pop that in there, hit enter. I'm going to say yes. So there were those rough spots there. I'm curious if that was actually just going to the spare sectors at one of the ends of the disc there instead of, you know, actually failing. Because it clearly didn't fail there. There we go. So now it says set up my date and time. I don't care about that. I don't care about that still. It says the installation is complete right now. But I can assure you we're missing something. The disk has not been sysed. If I reboot the machine right now, it won't boot. You'll have to boot off the floppy and figure something out. Remember how on the hard disk utility floppy I had gone and added sys.com? Now we can use that. And we'll load that up. There we go. So sysc. And there we go. And we should have no compatibility issues at this point here. So I'm going to hit the reset button that now you can see just down here. And away we go. Ta-da! Now, from this point here, the whole system is set up. If I want to go into GW Basic, now the microscreen controls work as well. And I can also go into Gem if I want from this as well. I don't have to type any commands. Hey, look, the mouse now works as well. So I'm just going to quit out of that, and we're going to finish off with Windows, which again, I just have to hit one of the programmable microscreen keys. Just like that. And away we go. Windows version VB 1.03. And there you go. Fantastic Windows. And the system is now set up. You can load whatever software you want. The clock's good. The hard disk is good. We are ready to roll. I hope you enjoyed this factory restore. If you have any comments about this, make sure to like and subscribe below. And until next time, have a good one. Burger. Burger.